Good evening. We recorded 221 new cases today and 5 were found in regional areas. But freedom has still been granted for Victorians living outside the metropolitan bubble. Schools, pubs and tourist attractions can reopen with limited capacity. And despite an enforcement blitz, roads out of Melbourne are bumper to bumper. Stephanie Anderson begins our coverage.
Melburnians were warned not to leave, but the West Gate was packed as regional Victoria scored some freedom.
It's just sheer relief and I feel like I can breathe again.
Pack the car up and go camping this weekend, roll the swag out.
221 new cases today, 98 are linked, 123 are mysteries, and the overwhelming majority live in the northern and western suburbs. But there are 5 new infections outside the metro zone. The fact that we're easing regardless, proving the Premier and his health chief have changed tact.
If there were an outbreak in another part of regional Victoria, then we would look to try and target and localise our public health measures.
One case, anywhere outside of Melbourne Metropole should not affect everybody from Mallacoota to Mildura.
The 5 reasons to leave home will be scrapped for regional Victorians, but they still can't have a visitor to the house. Gathering outside will be allowed for up to 10 guests too at weddings, funerals 20, and restaurants, pubs and cafes can open for seated service, 10 inside, 20 outdoors.
It's not a snapback, it's not Freedom Day, it's not 100% of capacity down at the pub.
But it is back to business for hairdressers, entertainment venues and retailers, with operators told to stick to density limits and check customer IDs before letting them in.
We find it really easy as staff to follow those rules. Obviously there's some people who aren't so easygoing about that sort of situation.
Childcare reopens for all and schools return to face-to-face learning for kids in prep, grade 1 and grade 2, as well as year 12s from Friday, with teachers travelling from Melbourne required to have PCR testing twice a week. But students in grade 3 through to year 11 can't come back to the classroom just yet.
I've got grade 2, but I've also got grade 6, so it'll still be a little bit of homeschooling and a little bit of school.
I have one that will be in foundation year who can go back to school, but Oscar here, he's in grade 3.
There's a little over a week of term 3 to go until holidays kick in, and the 5K travel limit being lifted opens up the options for families now allowed to move from regional area to regional area with their household, partner or in a single bubble.
We want to welcome as many people as we can, and we know going to school holidays, everyone now is going to want to get out more than ever.
But Shepparton residents will have to stay put. The outbreak there holding them back from being included in any easing before next week.
It's looking good, but it takes an enormous effort.
For Melburnians, the status quo remains. The only tweak to the rules, childcare is again open to single parents, even if they're not authorised workers. Everything else is still hope on the horizon.
These steps in regional Victoria are exactly what we're all working towards.
Steph's in Geelong this evening. Now, Steph, a big relief for businesses there.
Yeah, it really is, Pete. And while some of these changes are pretty modest for some areas like hospitality, and masks do have to remain both indoors and outdoors, the businesses I've spoken to today say something is better than the next to nothing they've had to push through during lockdown 6. Here, though, like so many other regional hubs and towns, Melbourne is the majority of the market. So while regional to regional is certainly being welcomed as a great start, I'm told the really big difference will be felt once those from the city and surrounding suburbs are also allowed to come back and visit. Pete?
Stefan.